I think the whole entire human experience is for us to understand how God feels. I was just pissed off. I was pissed off. I already been kind of like a little irritated and whatnot earlier. Um, and I didn't understand why. I didn't understand why. I think the whole entire human experience is for us to understand how God feels. I think the reason why life can seem so frustrating is because God wants us to feel how He feels, and then just to understand just how much He loves us. And the only way that we can really understand how much He loves us is to experience all of the human emotions and all of the human experience with other humans. That means when you're trying to help people out and and get them on the right track, and just how frustrating that is. I was talking with my mentee earlier today, and talking to that nigga is like one of the most frustrating experiences, and I can understand what I was like as a mentee, and just how much patience that my mentors had to have with me. Why? Because as a mentee, you got your limited level of experience in how you see things, and you got to have somebody that's patient enough and enough experience to be able to unpack where you're at, and also be patient to help you walk through what it is that you're going through. And then at certain times, you just recognize like there's only certain things that life can teach you. What does that have to do with experiencing the whole human experience to understand how God feels? Imagine God giving His word to us and letting us know everything that we need to do, and saying that there's a lot of bad things that can happen to you in life, and at least if you follow my word, that you have a level of protection that you wouldn't have had you not listened. Right? So you're going to go through challenges, you're going to have these experiences, and this is how you handle those particular experiences. Because God has given us free will, because He's given us power over the earth, He's saying you're going to be dealing with other imperfect humans. You're going to be dealing with people. They're going to be dealing with situations that are not advantageous to you. But this is how you handle those situations, right? So I was chilling. I'm on my way back home. I'm getting ready to pull into my parking spot. And guess who's there? Some funky Ford Explorer that backed in. Didn't even have the decency to pull in, but they backed in. I feel like if you're going to back into my spot, like that's a bold decision. That's a bold decision. You were comfortable with just backing in, and you know this ain't your spot. And I was thinking, like, I started to be like pissed off about it. I'm annoyed by it now. I started to be real pissed off about it, but I was like, ooh, let me give the same mercy that those young kids gave me when I parked in their spot because I couldn't find a parking spot. And you know what they did? Those young kids, they wrote me a note. They said, please don't park in my parking spot. Right? Please don't park in my parking spot. I pay for my parking spot. And when I saw them the next morning, I said, you know what? Please, I said, thank you so much. I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for what I did. And I appreciate that that's what I appreciate that that's, that that's all you did was write me a note. I was in the wrong. Right? So at first it was like, oh, I could call the towing company, but I remembered the mercy that was shown to me. So I'm going to show those folks the same mercy, right? I'm going to show those folks the same mercy. I'm going to pay that back. But I thought, I thought I was like, cool, this is a greater lesson for me. This is why we have rules. This is why we have order. And as much as we don't want the order to work for us, it's unfair to folks who have paid the cost, who did the right thing, and they don't get the benefits. And I think that's what's been going on in our particular system, is that folks who break the rules, those who don't honor the order, are rewarded for not honoring the order. And that is a major problem. Right? There's one thing to give mercy, and there's another thing to give grace, and there's another thing to just flat out watch people abuse the system. And those are the things that I have to check within myself, of like, what are the ways in which I'm abusing the system? And I can think of a couple in which I'm abusing the system, right? I can think of a couple in which I'm not honoring the order. So anytime that you are able to identify that behavior in somebody else, you better start looking at how you might be exemplifying that behavior, and you start making the changes. Why? Because the world that you want to create starts with you. And when things like that happen, those are indicators for you about changes that you should make. Because if you're able to identify it in somebody else, that means that those are things that you also are able to identify in yourself. So, got that off. Y'all be blessed. Have a great day. Do the right thing.